I'm Rebecca.
I'm Alexis.
And I'm Caitlin, and on today's Chick Chat, we're talking about chivalry.
Thanks for watching Chick Chat once again this week. I wanted to share a comment that we received on Facebook. If I can pull it up here real quick. It said, Chick Chat is awesome. Gives me and my daughter a chance to talk about being a godly young lady. And this message is from Tony, a dad of Lizzie. So hello, Lizzie. Hello, Tony. Thank you for tuning in. We're blessed that you're part of our Chick Chat family. But that's why Chick Chat is here. So if you know someone that has a young daughter or even a young son or span the age group, it doesn't have to be someone who's a young teen or preteen, but it can be a young adult because that's what these girls are. So if you know somebody that has a young woman or young man that this would be beneficial in helping them find a mate or just learning how to be a godly man and a godly woman, just have them tune in, tell them, hey, check this out, and let them be part of our Chick Chat family as well. So today we said we're going to be talking about chivalry. So chivalry, it comes back from years, I guess, back in the knight times, knighthood, and it talks about being a gallant man, an honest man. And last week we talked about being a truthful, being someone you can trust. A man that you can trust is someone that we're searching for. And so, girls, this week we're talking about chivalry. And so when you think about chivalry, what comes to mind for y'all?
Respect.
That's good. Yep, that's a part of it.
I think of knights.
Of knights.
Knight in shining armor.
Yes, riding on a white horse. Or a Mustang nowadays. Driving a Mustang. So what else?
Just not like a good person, but just someone who does things that are different than everyone else that kind of stands out, I guess, maybe.
So what do you mean by different? Because different could be a bad thing, too.
Well, like, in a good way. Like, they'll do different things that most people wouldn't think about. They'll
Such as?
do that. Well, just, like opening, how we said earlier about with the doors, opening the doors and walking on the side that's closest to the road when you're on the sidewalk, and just different kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, so just kind of taking care of the lady that they're with. Now, I can remember a time, this is me sharing a little bit of personal information. I was dating a guy, and we were taking things back and forth to a church, and I was riding in the pickup truck with him. And we were dating at the time. And I can remember itching and feeling like I was getting bit up. Well, I got out of the vehicle and I noticed that on the seat there were all kinds of ants. And I was like, oh my goodness, there are ants all over me. And I was trying to get them off of me. And he just acted like it was no big deal. Like he didn't come over to try to rescue me. He didn't try to help me. Nothing. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Shouldn't you be chivalrous? Shouldn't you be a man and try to help me out with this? But he didn't. So those of you girls that are watching, if you're ever in a situation and there are bugs around and the guy just like lets you all by yourself, he doesn't fight for you, he doesn't help you, he doesn't protect you, he's probably not the one for you. I'm just telling you. And your dads will agree that he's not the one for you.
If he's the one, he will kill the bugs also.
That's right.
On the wall.
That's
Spiders,
right.
whatever.
You had that incident last week. We had Jonathan come upstairs. We were like, Jonathan, there's a spider on the ceiling. We need you to come and kill it. And he did.
He comes with the broom. He's like...
But he got it. I don't care how he got it. He got it. So just even little things like that, just taking care and more care than what most guys in general would. And that's something that's not seen nowadays.
It's definitely lacking.
It is. Because that comes with opening car doors for you. Like you said earlier, when you're walking on a sidewalk, the man takes the outside edge that's closest so that if there's a car coming, he can kind of like protect you from that. Yeah. He watches out for you whenever you're going somewhere. What was some of the things that you mentioned that, as far as a date, that you've never experienced with the whole chivalry aspect of it?
Well, I've never been asked out on a proper date, like where they come up to you in person and say, hey, can I take you out for dinner? And like they set it up. Like I've never had that. I feel like it was mostly texting back and forth, or we met on a dating app, or it was on Facebook, something like that. And then just not really having a proper date, like where they come and pick me up, take me out. Maybe one time I had that, but
So let's just discuss that a little bit though too, because unless you know the guy or your family knows the guy, he's a friend of yours, that can be dangerous if you have the guy pick you up. So again, we're getting back to that whole safety aspect of it, especially with online dating being so prevalent right now. Girls, I'm telling you, don't allow him to pick you up. Meet somewhere, meet in a well-lit area, unless you truly know the guy. He's somebody that has been a part of your family or in your friend circle that you know you can trust, because there is danger in that as well. So be wise, you know.
They always say to make sure at least one person knows where you are at all times,
Yeah.
too. Like
Yeah.
texting.
And,
way.
you know, that's where technology has come in. It's in some ways handy. I mean, I don't want to give too much leadway to those in the tech world, but I think it's important because you have, like, on your Snapchat, you have it set up that Alexis and I, we know where she is, so we can check her location. So put those things on there to safeguard yourself. Girls, if you are someone who's going out on a date, make sure somebody knows where you are at all times, or they have that you have that on your phone, on an app on your phone where you can be tracked. It doesn't mean that, oh, mom and dad are going to be knowing exactly. I hope your parents do know where you are. I hope they care enough about you to want to know where you are. And I hope that you respect your parents enough to know that they're doing it out of love and concern, not because they want to have you under their thumb. Because I would hate it if if something happened to these girls because they didn't trust me enough or their parents enough, or I was just frivolous about just letting them go out with whoever they wanted to and not keeping tabs on them, because we love them and we want to make sure that they're safe, just like we love you and want to make sure you're safe too, and so do your parents. So please make sure you take those precautions, because nowadays, Caitlin,
there's a lot of crazy people out there.
Can we just continue on with your saga of the dating app world for a second? This past week, she got back on
Upward and Bumble.
Bumble too. So Upward and Bumble. So she said Bumble is not worth it. They have a lot of pretty boys on there. They have a lot of good looking guys on there, but they have no substance, most of them. So girls, Bumble, no, you don't need it. Upwards is still...
It's a hit or miss. Like you have to have discernment.
Yeah.
Because they say they're Christian, but like we've talked before, depends on how they're living their life and what they're doing. Because anybody can say they're a Christian. So.
Right. So dating apps, still be careful. So we want to have a guy who is chivalrous. Alexis, will you read this scripture for me? It is out of Philippians chapter 2. We're going to do verse 3 and 4.
Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you, page flip, look not only to his own interest, but also to the interests of others.
So when we're talking about chivalry, and we're saying, okay, you need to find guys that are like this. This is what you're looking for in a godly guy. Things that you won't find in a guy that is the wrong one for you. You're not going to find these characteristics. So if a guy can't be chivalrous to you, then he's probably not the one. Remember that. But
What do you mean?
both of you, and you two that are watching. But you want someone who's going to prefer you over their own interest, because what's going to happen is if that happens, that he prefers you, then you're going to also be the kind of girl, because you're a godly woman, you're going to be a girl that prefers him and wants to make him happy, wants to make him feel like he is that
special,
gallant, chivalrous guy.
Both ways you gotta do.
Yes. And be a lady. Don't be someone who's out there just willing to do anything with any guy. That is not a lady. That is definitely not a godly woman. So protect yourself, protect your heart in the process. But you have to respect men too. And part of that respecting is making sure that you're protecting them, that if that's not the one God has for you and you're not the one that God has for them, protecting them for their spouse as well, and saying, I respect you enough that I'm not going to do anything with you that would hinder your relationship with your future spouse. And prayerfully, he's going to feel that same way towards you. He doesn't want to put you in a situation that would compromise your relationship with your future spouse as well, because that's truly an important aspect of respect. If he respects you, He's not going to ask you to compromise your godly values and characters. Remember that, girls. Remember that, guys. A girl's not going to ask you to compromise either. So remember to be that godly woman, that godly man. And demand that out of a relationship. It's okay to demand that out of a relationship because God wants that for you as well.
Even adding on to that, I think with how we're saying about the guys being chivalrous, I think sometimes you need to, like, not encourage them, but we like to hear compliments, and we like it when they notice the small things we do. So when they do that kind of stuff for us, maybe you gotta, like, encourage them to keep doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And let them do it. Like,
Yeah, like I know with, like, in culture today, it's like, I can get the door for myself or whatever. Like, we've kind of pushed that aside to be part of where we can do anything now, which not all is bad, but not all is good in that aspect. Mm-hmm. So just be mindful of that and that appreciate it when it does happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And going back to what I said before, I think there has been one date or a couple dates that I got picked up and stuff, but I've never actually been, like, asked in person to go out on a date. And, like, going back to what you said, we have to make ourselves available for them to do that. We can't just, like, avoid them and then be like, well, I've never been asked out on a date or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to let them be chivalrous.
Yeah.
And,
Pursue.
like, be available.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. And not be cold.
Yeah.
Because I think
Yeah, the
sometimes
whole hard to get thing.
Yeah, that whole
Don't
hard to
bother.
get. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you want to make sure, like you said, that you're available, that you're sweet and kind, and you're open to that prospect. Now, if it's somebody that you know you're not going to be interested in dating, it's okay to say no. Please
Say it from
no.
the get-go, because it'll just be worse later on.
Yeah, because the longer you spend time with somebody, the more attached that person will get with you. That's just that aspect of being close in proximity to someone. The more you're around them, the more attached they get towards you. So if you have your line in the sand drawn and saying, no, I love you as a friend, but I don't see us going any farther than that, let that be known. Don't lead somebody on and don't make them feel like, oh, well, there's a possibility, because that's going to hurt them in the future. So take that little word of advice there. So, Caitlin, you...
I always know when you're about to, like, ask me something.
The spotlight
It's
is
so
on
dramatic.
you. The spotlight is on you right now, because this past week you were reconnected with a guy through Upward, correct? Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah. See the look on her face? Yeah, total disdain and irritation. So she was connected with him again, and his comment is, "Oh, so we meet again." Well. Not like I'm not giving it away right now if he's watching. But anyhow, if he is watching, you should take note of this. This is not how you treat a woman. This is not how to be chivalrous. So go ahead.
Oh, burn.
That's right. I have to take care of my girls. So explain a little bit of what happened over the course of maybe the last year. See, she knows. So over the course of the last year. Now, Caitlin is a godly girl who loves the Lord with all of her heart. She's respectable. She dresses very conservatively. She does modestly. She tries to put forth God in her life whenever she's around other people, and even when she's in private. And she studies her word. She prays. So she's a godly woman, and she deserves to be treated such. So go ahead.
Well, the past year, like, a year ago, I met this guy through Upward, and we started texting, and we went on a few dates, but that's about it. And he, like, ditched me a few times, and he takes 20 days to message me back, and for some reason, I still kept talking to this guy and giving him chance after chance after chance, and, I mean, like, recently, he's texted me, and I, like, try not to text back, because I'm like, you're just leading me on, whatever. So then we met on Upward again.
So we meet again.
And he's like, oh, so we meet again. And he was like, you never went on the date that I asked you to go on.
And can we add, he plays guitar, he sings really good, and he's good looking. He goes to church, so he says.
Yeah.
So a lot of the qualities that she would want.
And then you have a beard too.
Yeah, and he has a beard. Remember from last week, she said beard, so he has a beard. So a lot of the qualities that she wants, he possesses. However, continue.
So finally I said, okay, you know what? If you're not going to text me back, if you're not going to like pursue me, I kind of told him where I was going to be. And then if he wants to come, he can. I'm no longer going to go out of my way to drive to meet him somewhere or whatever. Like, no, and I'm just like, this is where I am. If you're actually interested, you'll show up. Well, guess what?
He didn't.
I told him where I was, and he never showed up. And it's actually been like 3 days
Since he came, yeah.
So
it's probably time to just...
Yes. Well, and it wasn't just that. He sent you a message, what time are you going to be there? What time does it start?
Like pretending to act interested.
Yeah. And so she told him, and he never responded back to her, and still has not. And so I can guarantee you, and if he's watching, he may not, but he will probably send a message back to her and say, hey, I'm so sorry, I lost service, or I fell asleep for the last 3 days. I don't know what the excuse will be. But all of that to say this, all of the things can be there, that appearance, the playing, the talents that he has, the good looks, the going to church. Yeah, yes. I know. All of that can be there. But if the chivalry is not there, if the respect for her feelings, which her feelings are in play in this situation, and the respect for her feelings, they're not there. So she doesn't need to keep pressing in on it and letting her feelings and her emotions be on a roller coaster. So girls, if a guy can't step up to bat, if he can't be courageous in pursuing you, and he lies to you, which that's what happened, that shows that you can't trust him. He's not a good Christian character, because he's not going to be consistent with his word. And so when a guy's like that, ditch him. You don't need him. He's not the one for you.
Preaching to the choir.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I mean, you can pray for him, and maybe the Lord will change his heart, but don't bank on that. Don't bank on the fact that he's going to be different. If God changes his heart, you'll know it. You'll find out, because he'll pursue you. Let's get back to that again. He will pursue you. Back to the scripture verses that we read, we want to make sure that person is looking to that other person, that guy that's pursuing you is looking to you with respect and preferring you and what God has for you and your feelings, your emotions, that he's trying to take care of that and respect that. And girls, you do the same to him as well. I think those are definitely some important things to look for. And we talked about it. Let's see if we can remember again some of these. Last week was trust. The week before we talked about being a leader and being able to give and take in that loving relationship. So all of those things are such good qualities when you're looking for that person or seeing that person come into your life, that maybe this is the one, or is this not the one? So keep those things in mind. And I think next week, maybe we'll dive into a little bit about girls and what we need to be doing as women, as godly girls yeah. There's a lot to go. We're ready for this. We can't wait to be able to discuss this with you guys. If you like what you're hearing, please comment. Let us know. Like us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube page, because the more subscribers we get, the more it gets out there. And we want you to share this with others so that others can hear what it is to have a godly relationship, to be a godly woman, and to have those good characteristics. And whether you are 10 years old till you're 100 or in the grave, no matter what age group you are in, we want to be able to reach you and help you and encourage you right now, because God has something great for you, and we don't want to see you miss what God has for you. So continue to pray, as we will be praying for you. Like, share, subscribe, and we will be back with you again next week. Is there anything else you want to add before we close? No. Okay. Why did I guess? But we're going to be back next week with you. And again, comment, send us an email if you want, or a message on Instant Messenger. But we can't wait to hear from you, and we look forward to seeing you all next week. God bless you. Love you. Bye.